Assalamu alaikum. All right, Ji. So we're going to start this course, which is ACCA's F4. F4 is corporate and business law. And the variant that we're going to do is English variant, right? Mostly the variant taught in Pakistan is the English variant. The reason being that because we all know that Pakistan was once a colony of the British Empire, most of the law that is still applicable in Pakistan or is still being followed or is part of our legal system is British law. So the English law that we're going to study is very close to the law that is in Pakistan. Yes, of course, over time there have been changes that have taken place, but generally there are a lot of similarities, right? Okay, so let's talk about our study hub. We are going to be using the study hub, which is a resource that has been provided by ACC itself. Um, to be honest, I've been teaching from BPP and Kaplan both, and the kit that we're going to practice is going to be BPP. But to be very honest, now because they have their own study hub, it is the material in their own study hub is much closer or is more examinable, right? So it's much more closer to how your exam is going to be. So it is better that we should study from Study Hub. But as far as practice questions are concerned, the questions in the Study Hub, they're relatively easier. And I don't think the exam is that easy. So we're going to practice questions from BPP because the difficulty level of BPP is much more than even Kaplan or the Study Hub. All right, so let's talk about first, let's talk about our exam. Okay. So your exam is of 2 hours. It's a completely computer-based exam. So you don't really have to type anything. You just have to select the right answers. So it consists of two sections. You have section A and you've got section B. Section A is of 70 marks and section B is of 30 marks. Section A consists of 1 mark questions and 2 mark questions, right? Mostly they're like multiple choice questions. So you have to select one option out of multiple choices that have been given to you. Section B consists of 5 6 marks questions. And these are called multiple task questions. So these multiple task questions, so they give you like a scenario, and out of that scenario, they give you 3 4 different tasks to perform. For some reason, I've been teaching F4 for the past, I think, 12 years now, maybe more. First, and I've also been teaching FBT, which is F1. For some very awkward reasons, students think this is very difficult. So, every time I have a discussion with my students and they're worried about something related to the exam, it's the MTQs. And they think the MTQs are going to be like very hard and oh my God, how are we going to do this? Believe me, they're not. And once we're, doing the course and we complete some part of the course, we're going to start with the practice questions and we will be practicing MTQs as well. And then you will understand that they're not that difficult. So the answers are within the scenario, within the question. You just have to learn how to extract the answers. All right. So that's, the introduction to how the paper is going to be. So you just have to give me a minute because it's raining in Pakistan, and when it rains here, somehow our internet stops working. All right. So we are going to discuss the course now, right? Before we discuss the course, there are some things that we need to know about. So, for example, I hope you all have access to the study hub. Once you get registered with the ACCA, they give you, like, it takes, I think, a few days after your registration, they give you the access to the study hub. All right. So these are a few documents that you should go through. They are provided on the website for your guidance. So it tells you about how you're supposed to approach your studies and how you're going to book your exam, and also how you can access the study hub. And also it talks about the exam format as well, right? So just go through these documents once. You won't have to spend too much time on it, but just go through it once. All right, so we're going to start with our course now. We're going to start with chapter number 11. So the total number of chapters that we have in this course are around 19 chapters. But if you look at the books, if you look at BPP or if you look at Kaplan, they've got less chapters. Actually, BPP has more because they've divided the chapters into like um, uh, each chapter has, like, less topics, right? So they have more number of chapters. And on the contrary, Kaplan has less number of chapters because in one chapter they've covered more topics as compared to BPP. So that's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter whether there are more chapters in BPP or less chapters in Kaplan, or more chapters in the study hub. What's important is that the course that they're covering, and the course is exactly the same in all of these three resources. But like I said, because ACCA has launched their own study hub, so this course is going to be more examinable from the study hub. It's better that you use the study hub um, for reading the text. Okay, so we're going to start with chapter number 1, which is the English legal system. Okay, so this chapter is going to tell us about how law is made and how it's interpreted, and what is the basic structure of the court and the processes that take place in the court. Okay, and we're talking about the English legal system. Jurisdiction. What does the word jurisdiction mean? All right, so the word jurisdiction, just trying to get the highlighter to work. Let's see if it works. Okay, that's funny because it's not working. Okay, maybe it's going to work this way. Oh, you have to select and then highlight. All right. So the word jurisdiction, what does that exactly mean? So jurisdiction means, every area or every country, they have their own law. And the law of that particular area or country is only applicable in that area or in that country. It is not applicable beyond the borders of that country. So the jurisdiction of that law is within that country. So jurisdiction means the area where that law is going to be applicable. Because we are studying English law, it is applicable in United Kingdom, England, Wales, Scotland, and another island. All right, that's what it's going to be applicable on, right? Even though Scotland and Ireland, they've got some of their local laws as well, but mainly the English law that we're going to study is going to be applicable in the United Kingdoms, England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Similarly, if we talk about, jurisdiction, just to understand this word, because this word is going to be used repeatedly again and again throughout our course, right? So, for example, if you're sitting in Pakistan and the Minimum Wage Act of Pakistan says that the minimum wage is 40,000 Pakistan rupee, right? Now, is this applicable on any other country? No. So the minimum wage, that is 40,000, is only applicable in Pakistan. Similarly, in UK, the minimum wage act states, I think right now it's 12 to 15 pounds per hour, right? So this is only going to be applicable in the UK, not in US, not in Australia. So the jurisdiction of this law is just UK. All right, I hope that clears the concept of jurisdiction. So you're talking about English law and the jurisdiction in which it's applicable. So the jurisdiction is UK, which consists of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Ireland. So let's talk about the nature of English law. So most of the English law, a lot of it, is called the common law. What does that mean? What does common law mean? So we'll discuss how common law was made, right? But in other parts of the world, um, a lot of like European countries, they follow the continental models of law, which are found in the Roman law, right? So that's like even in some European countries like Spain, continental model is followed. But in England, in English law, common law system is followed, right? So what are the features of English common law? It is based on what fundamental principles of law identified and expounded by the judiciary. So English law, your common law has been developed by the judiciary, the judges. And then in cases of criminal law, the accused have the right to be tried in front of a jury. I'm sure you've seen a lot of Hollywood movies. And in that, when a criminal or the accused, they go to court, there's a jury of people. They're laymen, they're like members of the public. They're sitting in front of the courtroom, and they are the ones who decide based on the evidence that is presented in front of them by both the defense and the prosecution whether the uh, accused is guilty or not guilty. It is not for the judge to decide. The decision whether the accused is guilty or not will be taken by the jury. So these are two very important features of the common law. All right, so the common law principles is the meaning of principles is best practice, right? So whenever you're doing some kind of work, the best way of doing work is called the principles. So the common law principles of England and Wales, they have provided, they've been the model principles for many countries around the world, even US, even India, even Australia, even Canada. Why? Because when the British Empire, um, took over a lot of countries, and they made them their colonies, even including Pakistan and India. So India was once a colony of the British Empire. So they brought their own common law principles into the legal system of that country. Hence, a lot of countries in the world, their legal principles are still based on the common law. The English law is frequently the jurisdiction of choice in international transactions and in shipping and insurance contracts as well. Because obviously, when we talk about international transactions, the problem is with international transactions. So, if you have two countries trading with each other, you've got US and you've got India, right? US has their own set of laws, and India has their own set of laws. Problem is, which one are you going to follow, right? So, the English law is still being used as the international law when it comes to trading and insurance. So let's talk about the constitutional matters in the UK. So UK is a constitutional monarchy. What does that mean? It means that UK has its constitution as well, and it has a parliament which is completely sovereign. Yet it also has the monarchy. Currently, we know that King Charles is the one who is heading the state. So they still have monarchy, they still have the king or the queen, which are referred to as the crown. So UK has no written constitution and functions under the doctrine of parliamentary sovereignty. What does that mean? It means that the parliament is in UK is considered to be sovereign. Sovereign means the ultimate power, right? Which means the parliament is free to make any law that they deem fit for the country. And the parliament can also change any law that they feel is necessary for their country. So, Parliament is not bound by the judiciary or it is not even bound by the crown. Parliament is sovereign. Sovereign means ultimate authority, right? For example, in Pakistan's law, because Pakistan is a Muslim country, our law states that Allah is sovereign. So, the ultimate authority in Pakistan is Allah's law, even though Sharia law is not really implemented in Pakistan, except for in a few things like the inheritance law. But even then, that's what Pakistan's law states that Allah is sovereign. In case of UK, the parliament is sovereign, so it cannot be challenged by the courts. It can make any law that they deem fit. Now, what does the parliament exist of? The parliament exists of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Now, what's the difference between the House of Commons and the House of Lords? House of Commons are the people, the members of the parliament who have been elected by the public. So they actually stand up for elections and then they are elected by the public. The public goes and votes for them. So they're the real representation of what the public wants. They're the real representatives of the public. So they have there's a general election, and whichever party, political party, has the majority votes, they will then form the government, and the political party which has, the minority votes, they will be in opposition. So we were talking about the members of the parliament. These are people who have been elected by the public. So people, they every country has periodical general elections. Like in Pakistan, we have them every 5 years. I think in UK also they have them every 5 years. So then people go, the public goes and they vote for these people to represent them in the parliament. So it has, in UK, they have 650 geographical constituencies from where people stand up for elections. So MPs are elected and they form the House of Common. In Pakistan, we call the House of Common the the assembly, National Assembly, right? And then we've got the Senate. Senate are the people who, in Pakistan, Senate are the people who have honorary position. So similarly, in UK as well, you have 790 members of the House of Lords. House of Lords are people who have been, who are not elected, who have been selected based on some contribution that they've made to the country. Initially, um, before 1958, people could inherit the lordship as well. So if your father was a lord in the House of Lords, the son could inherit it, and he could also be sitting in the House of Lords. But that has changed now. Now, people from different backgrounds and different occupations, people who are distinguished or who have, who are high achievers, or who have done some, um, maybe something good for the country. These people are selected to sit in the House of Lords. So right now there are only 92 hereditary peers that exists in the House of Lords. Otherwise, most of the people are selected based on their contributions to the country. The Church of England's archbishops and bishops also sit in this house, and they're unaligned to any political party. So their agenda is not to be part of any political party. The people who are they are associated with political parties are the members of the parliament who have been elected, who sit in the House of Commons. Then the once the National, of course, Assembly has been formed, the parliament has been formed, there are regional and local governments as well. So, for example, in UK, England would have their own regional government, and Ireland would have their own regional government, and the laws in those areas will be governed by some local laws. So, laws regarding highway maintenance, laws regarding environmental management and community housing, and similar laws that, or maybe the building policy. So these laws are made at a regional level as well. Apart from that, if we talk about the judiciary, the judges are independent of the parliament. They are independent of the parliament, because if the judiciary is not independent of the politicians, then we know that the government, that the country uh, will be a land of no law, right? So the judiciary needs to be independent of the parliament. All right, so I think that's it for today. We are going to keep our lectures very short. We're going to keep them maybe 30 minutes each. So, because I understand that nowadays students, they've got a very uh, low concentration span, and they cannot concentrate beyond 30 to 40 minutes. So, we're going to keep our lectures very short, 30 minutes at the max. And I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow with a new lecture. Tomorrow we are going to cover what is law. We will cover public law and private law, the difference between public and private law, criminal law and civil law. And that's going to be our topic for tomorrow. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.